This show is powered by BL3P, the Lightning-enabled European Bitcoin exchange.
Connect the world.
Bart Mol, founder and host of Satoshi Radio, the Netherlands, Rotterdam.
I prefer getting rich with ICOs over staying poor with Bitcoin.
No.
With my first international Lightning payment, I bought smerig vette fast food at the McDonald's.
Yes.
Is it hard to be a good kindergarten teacher at the care farm you run?
Yeah. Yes.
The spike mod, which I said you should buy, is the single best gadget I've bought this year.
Yes.
The Dutch expression appeltje eitje, literal translation meaning apple and egg, comes presumably from the existence of the expression for an apple and an egg, meaning for a very small amount, for little money, easy, or a trifle, and appeared as early as the 18th century. After talking on the main stage at Bitcoin Amsterdam 2022 for thousands of people, streaming live from the stage at the music venue Tivoli in Utrecht in December will be appeltje eitje.
No.
You live in Rotterdam, but is it true that the football team you cheer for is Ajax Amsterdam?
Yeah. Yes.
In 2006, he was a math and physics teacher that started experimenting with hops, malt, and yeast back home in his kitchen in Copenhagen. Today, Mikkel Bjørgse exports his micro-brewed beer to 40 different countries and is internationally acclaimed as one of the most innovative and cutting-edge brewers in the world. Have you tried already one of Mikkel's zero-alcohol beers?
No.
Flatbeat is an instrumental by French musician Mr. Aizo, released on F Communications. Are you still headbanging on the track like the puppet Flat Eric?
Yeah, with a sausage in my mouth, just like Flat Eric.
People in Spanish-speaking countries say buenas or buenos dias in the morning and at midday when they greet each other on the street. Is it true that when being in El Salvador, you consistently kept greeting people in the morning saying buenas noches, meaning good night?
Yes.
Are you Satoshi Nakamoto?
No.
Welcome to the Connect the World weekly podcast. I'm Edward.
And I'm Stef. We are ready to take you with us into the beautiful world of the Lightning Network.
Enjoy the ride. Let's start right away, come on! This is episode 53 of Connect the World. Hey, Stef.
It's even better, man, with the jingle. Oh, your introduction.
Yeah, really?
Yeah,
I was thinking about putting it on at first, but I thought,
no.
Let's do the normal.
No, we have such a nice jingle, right? But of tune. But no, great, man. So
amazing. Yeah, here we are. 53 episodes. Well, with number 0, then it's 54, and a lot of content at Bitcoin Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Man,
but we found out just before. I think you weren't at the pre-interview
No,
yet. But we found out that at the 28th of November last year, we aired our first episode, and this is also recorded at the 28th of this year. So yeah, man. So
the
it's
same day
really,
recording today is the release of the first episode.
So that it is really our first anniversary, Edward.
That's
let's celebrate.
Yeah, yeah, indeed.
With an ice cold beer.
Let's have a look.
And cheers, man. Yeah. We had such a nice...
ice cold. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers, mate.
I'm going to put it in my... this is a weird glass. It turns transparent.
Man. Oh, watch out. Watch your keyboard, man. Oh, no, it's doing fine.
I was thinking about it. Well, I'm going to do it wrong. But it's a glass that that you can't look through, only if you put beer inside. So.
Yeah, and I can see that you have way too much, way more than 2 fingers of schuim.
I will put some more in.
Hey, but yeah, a year, Edward.
And what a year.
And what a year. So many highlights. I mean, starting with our very first... what was it? It was like recordings with our own team to see how the podcast is structured, which direction we wanted to head.
We have some recordings of that. I saw them, and
let's
that was
keep
testing it
private.
out with Bart, and that was fun because all the gear we use, and and of course trying to speak English, man.
We are still improving every week, right?
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, but the nice thing is then we had, of course, Kloek.
Yeah,
very
that was a nice
Kloek,
start.
The kaaskoekje, and he was our first recording with a real guest. So that
with
really
a
helped
guest
us.
with a mask, so that was fun.
Yeah. But it was nice that it was someone who we already knew.
Yeah, that's right.
So we could manage it to structure like we wanted to. So that was very nice. And then of course,
to test it.
Within a few episodes, we also had Saul and Chino from of course the two people behind the Rings of Fire community.
I remember that being very. I don't know. There was some kind of tension because those were the guys that started Rings of Fire concept, and we continued it. But it was such a thing that they were on our show that really meant something to us.
Yeah,
so that
sure.
was great.
Because we never spoke to them in person, so that was the very first time, and the guys are so thankful what we built up on their own Rings of Fire community, and we are obviously very thankful for them for the whole project to start. And so that was really nice. And then fast forward a couple of months, then there was Bitcoin Amsterdam, Edward, and we were doing the Rings of Fire workshop at the workshop stage.
We were at the stage, man. Talking about Rings of Fire, I mean, I've seen a lot of pictures also about our concept, Rings of Fire community at other conferences. But to tell the story ourselves, you and me, that was amazing.
Yeah, that was amazing. So no, I really liked that very very beginning, and I also remember that I'm normally not nervous before a recording. I mean, I don't know, it's just not in my nature to be nervous for something. But of course I'm nervous sometimes, but not that much. But I remember that laptop man who was on the background. Doing making all the appointments with future guests, and he suddenly said to us, "Well, we have a new confirmed guest. It's Alex Bosworth." And I was like, "Oh, wow, that's."
Indeed.
I mean, of course, Sol and Chino, they're also for us. They are very people that mean something. But Alex Bosworth is like well known and through the whole Lightning network community.
At it because we built slowly towards those guests, right? Because we needed to feel accustomed to interview people. It was the 8th episode, so the 8th.
So it was pretty. I mean, it was pretty early in my opinion.
Soon,
And I mean, we didn't have that many subscribers to our channel.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
So Alex featuring on our show was very special to me. So but everything went fine. I think it's a good episode. We really built upon that. I think so.
And I also think talking to for this niche in a niche, right? Lightning is a niche, and talking to the developers that are actively working on Lightning. So with the guys from Blockstream, Nifty, and Rusty Russell and
Christian Decker, El Mutol. It's crazy, man.
El Mutol from Lightning Labs and Alex. That's really something to be able to talk with them and ask them the questions that everybody wants to ask them.
Yeah,
I think
René Picard. I mean, and René Picard being a fan of the show. I mean, that's also really, it's
early on.
It really amazes me. I mean,
that was great.
Again, it's a niche within a niche, but really grateful for what we already achieved with the podcast, and of course we couldn't do it without every member within our Satoshi Radio Rings of Fire community, connected world community, and of course our audience
and our team, Ramon, doing the editing work and the design and laptop man.
Yeah,
and I think one episode was also they were all special. But do you remember Fjatjev?
Yeah, of course, yeah. But I really like the guy, man. I mean, it was perfect. But he was recording on the streets or something. I mean, it's obviously extremely hot. It can be extremely hot in Brazil.
Yeah.
So he was recording on the street. So with a lot of traffic passing by. So that was also and we had lots of Positua completely drugged from his bed at the hospital. So that was also crazy, man. And the Podfather, I mean, we call Bart Mol our Podfather, but the real Podfather, Adam Curry, I mean, it's also an achievement, right? He invented the thing. I mean, come on.
With him, it's fun also to talk about those early days on, because he was there at the beginning of a lot of technologies. And I think that's great.
We also had a nice after talk and a nice pre-talk with him. So, yeah. And what about Phil Shepard? I mean, our own Phil.
He always says, let's look it up, Phil. What's your episode? Number 9. He says, number 9. It's the best one. But what I mostly like, because we've met Phil at Bitcoin Amsterdam, and he was at the same house with a couple of people. But always inside the community, inside the Telegram group with Constant and with Olga Yuklova from RTV. It's so funny.
Yeah, it's perfect, man. Yeah, really, really. But again, guys, really happy that that we reached this milestone, because for me it's already a milestone being a Lightning Network focused podcast for now over 1 year now when this episode is released. I mean, and Edward, also thanks to you. Obviously.
And thank you, Stef, of course.
For being my co-host, and I'm being your co-host, of course.
It was a hell of a ride. And don't forget the map which Jury made.
I mean,
seeing all those people, and they kept those notes running. We say it each time.
I think we use it almost every time when we have a guest on the show in the pre-talk or something. We look it up and then we show it to the guest. So it's really helpful and it's amazing to show, of course. So also thanks to Julia, obviously. Yeah. So, hey, but today, Edward, who do we welcome? Because it was a bit of a secret.
His name.
I already said his name. Yeah.
Yeah, you already said his name, because we call him our Podfather, because he's the founder of the Dutch Satoshi Radio podcast. Hence the Satoshi Radio Rings of Fire.
Yeah.
His name is Bart Mol.
Yeah, so a really interesting guest. I mean, for all the Dutch people and the Belgian people, I think the Belgian people might know him as well. But Bart is real. He's a great podcast host and also a great community leader, I would say. And he also traveled to El Salvador when the Bitcoin law came into effect. So also made a nice small documentary, or I don't know, maybe small
about the dentist, right?
Yeah, also the dentist, but I mean from his whole trip there, he covered it very nicely. So I think he's a great guest to have on the show.
And he
it's about
started
time, right?
the Bitcoin Amsterdam conference, and he also did a workshop there, the one-on-one Lightning, right?
That's correct. And also, it was also on I think it was also on the main stage, right?
Yeah, it was on the main stage.
Small part of it. Yeah. So that in the second part of the show, Edward.
Awesome.
So let's first start, as always, to talk about a little bit about the statistics of the Lightning Network and about our Rings of Fire community.
Yeah.
Oh, that's such a nice jingle. Okay, so man, it's crazy. I see the numbers here, Edward, and they are. I can tell you that these are correct numbers.
Oh, this is especially for today.
I mean, it's really something to celebrate. So last week we had 46.45 Bitcoin pushed into the Lightning Network, and this week, ladies and gentlemen, we added 270 million sats. And Yeah, it's of course because we opened a half Bitcoin ring of fire, so that easily adds up. But again, 270 million sats. So now we are just underneath the 50 Bitcoin. We are now at 49.15. So maybe next week we can celebrate the 50th Bitcoin push into the Lightning Network. But who knows? 1,565 members participating in over 210 rings. And as you already mentioned in the small talk, Edward, you can look this up at map.rof.tools yourself.
Yeah.
And then you can see all active Lightning channels. So crazy.
And we're now at block height 765,049. And the Lightning Network statistics are brought to you by Ambles.space. And when we look at it, we've got 16,896 nodes inside the network with 5,248 Bitcoin pushed in the network. And that's 108 Bitcoin more. So that's a lot.
That's a lot. Yeah. Today's value of 1 million Satoshis is $163, €156, and 1,175 Chinese yuan.
Соединим этот мир.
And then some highlighted news updates from last week brought to you by the Daily Moon. I've looked it up and there were a lot of things to talk about and I just picked 3. Geyser, the Lightning native reward-based crowdfunding platform, which we made also a quick talk with. And we also interviewed them at Bitcoin Amsterdam. And they enable Bitcoin and Lightning creators to succeed by making campaigns viral, engaging, and borderless, so crowdfunding. They just started an investment round with Lightning Ventures, and you can read it on their page. And I think you can fund them from $1,000 or more. Of course, you need to check it out if you want to do that. But it is an interesting thing because it means they're growing, of course. And then Blockstream, news from Blockstream, built on L2, layer 2, Bowl 2 it's called. It's a new community initiative that connects developers, entrepreneurs, and Bitcoiners from around the whole world to build on core Lightning and the Liquid network towards a Bitcoin-led future. On their platform, they'll organize hackathons, virtual networking events, mentorship and coaching, and a lot more. So a lot of education and experimenting. They've made a manifesto. You can read it, and you can also have early exits by signing up. So check the show notes for the links. And then I didn't know the name, but lolly.com.
Yeah, I knew it.
In Dutch, it's not only in Dutch.
Lick my rama lollipop.
Yeah. It's a new player in town to earn sats. So I think Satsback is bigger, of course, but they also have the cashback rewards for shopping online. They have now for 10,000 stores connected.
Yeah, it's not really new.
It's not really new.
They are based in the US, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I also thought. I have it here as moment only usable in the USA.
Yeah.
And you can join their waitlist on our website if you are from the USA.
Perfect. Do you want to read more and stay up to date about everything related to Lightning, the news and updates? Then head over to tdm.news and follow the Daily Moon on Twitter or Telegram. Yeah, so we added 270 million sats last week, Edward. But we also balanced 4 rings. And I think, a lot of them were balanced by Ramon de Vries.
Yeah, I see his name a lot.
Yeah, man, and he's a bit new to our community. I think he's now in it for a couple of months, but he's doing a great job on helping us also to
that's nice.
Help the groups to succeed in the balancing. So, I also talked to him and I said to him, well, you have to think about it. Maybe you can be a master of ceremony. So, we'll check if we can make that happen because he's also very skilled with SSH and all. So we'd love to add him to the team. So I will give you guys an update when we can have managed it to do so. Well, starting with the 1 million Satoshi's 45th ring of a 54th ring. This was an amazing team effort. We thought we weren't able to balance due to some strange issues for both ringleaders, Bufo and on the background Ramon de Vries. There he is. We agreed on waiting until one of the participants got back home, since we needed a fee change to trigger COSIP. But suddenly there was an opportunity to balance his ring, and Bufo wasted no more time. So great to see those guys working together, and happy that we pulled this off eventually. And then we had the 5 million Satoshi's 32nd ring. Our Canadian ringleader, Big Ninja, got the work done just before he got to his fiat job. Nice 5 million ring balance with some challenging time zones in it, but we managed to get everyone present. One participant saw some routing taking place, so we decided to raise the fees on that channel. And luckily, not long after Big Ninja was able to shoot a transaction. So that was also a nice one. Yeah. And I see here that there were node operators from Australia, like our ringleader, but also Austria, but also Canada and Italy and Spain. So that are crazy time zones involved. So picking a date and time is a bit difficult then, but we succeeded. And then we had the 2 million Satoshi's 33rd ring. While Germany was a bit disappointing on the pitch yesterday, our German ringleader E-Point didn't disappoint us at all. Being a first-timer, he did a great job on balancing this ring. A lot of other ring members were present, so the group was very active during the ceremony. Nice to see that. And of course, our hero, Ramon de Vries, there he is again, was there to coach and help E-Point. Awesome. And finishing off with the 3 million Satoshi's 29th ring. As far as I know, Numpy is the first Malaysian ringleader. And boy, he was full of energy. Being a first-timer, he did his homework and made sure he was able to build a transaction. We agreed on a date and time, and Numpy couldn't resist the lightning strikes and balanced his ring while the others were still lowering their fees. But it was really fortunate because right after this, he succeeded. One of the members got disconnected from his ISP. So we think the almighty Zeus saw this and prevented us from getting into trouble. So within those rings, night operates from the USA, Malaysia, Canada, Italy, Germany, Holland, Taiwan. I see also Taiwan present, Austria and Spain. Yeah, awesome. So great. Yeah.
So I think we have one cheer left for all those people inside the Satoshi Radio Rings of Fire. And also, again, a special thanks to Ramon, because for one team member, of course, Leptoman also, but when we were too busy to do things or something, the only one that kept working all night was Ramon.
Yeah.
So
he's
come on.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
Yeah, really, really thanks. So we're working on for next year. We'll see what we've got for you.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Thanks, Stef. And let's go to the lightning notes.
Yes, let's do it.
Yeah.
Connetti il mondo.
Make sure to secure your home network. So change default passwords and use two-factor authentication where possible. And keep your software up to date. It's also very important. Please keep in mind that the whole Lightning network is very experimental. Software like MyNode, Umbrel, Raspberry Blitz, for example, and many others, and LND also, are still in beta phase. Don't blindly run terminal commands on your node if you don't understand them yourself, and especially when prefixed with sudo. And the last one is also very important. Don't use Satoshis that you're not willing to lose. So if you're not aware of all security considerations, then read into it. Educate yourself, read articles, ask for help in Telegram groups with high reputation like ours, and listen to podcasts and learn by doing. Otherwise, don't participate.
Also, you can stay informed by following us on Twitter. You can find us at Satoshi Radio ROF. And follow our lightning leader, Jonī Kyasshu. Join our Telegram groups, Satoshi Radio, Ring of Fire, and Connect the World. And check our website, satoshi.radio. It would be nice for you to be part of our Amboss community. You can find us there on Satoshi Radio. And like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Use Podcasting 2.0 to listen to Connect the World. And you can check SAT trading for the current value. You can find all this information, of course, also in the show notes as well.
All right, let's get on to the show.
Connect the world.
Welcome, Bart.
Welcome, Bart.
Thank you. Great questions, guys.
Great to have you.
I try to not laugh at a couple
with
of
each
them.
question.
Yeah, sausage in my mouth sounds a bit weird, but it is what it is what Flat Eric did. He has sausages instead of cigars. Watch the video back. It's like a knockwurst, but I don't know what the Dutch or the English translation is.
Like a hot dog.
Yeah.
A small hot dog.
No, big hot dogs.
I mean,
it's a bigger
knockwurst.
one.
A knockwurst is a real small hot dog.
Yeah,
right?
that's true. It's more like a bockwurst then.
A Frankfurter.
Frankfurter, yeah. Anyway.
Hey, but you said also yes. You doubted a bit. With my first international lightning payment, I bought smerig vette fast food at the McDonald's, and you doubted a bit because this was in El Salvador, right?
Yeah, that's true. But I was thinking maybe probably bought something off the internet anyway. So like that, normally like a lot of lightning payments are international by nature anyway, because you, I don't know, buy some art from some Bitcoiner in Poland or something, or buy candy from somebody in Germany or whatever. So I was thinking maybe there is some lightning payment that I did online, but I don't think that really counts. I think in El Salvador that was like the first real international transaction.
And you were there in what period?
Last year in September, around the time of the Bitcoin law.
And looking back at it from now, did it amaze you that you were there, or?
Yeah, I was actually talking about it with some people at the Bitcoin conference last month already. So we were talking about it, and it really kind of opened my eyes in a sense that a lot of the stories that we invent almost as Bitcoiners about Lightning and Bitcoin, I mean, they hold up in practice. But the world out there is a little bit more complex than we sometimes think behind our computers. So there are also a lot of things and aspects why people weren't using Bitcoin and Lightning. And I think they are also valid in a sense, especially if you take into account the really difficult living conditions of some of the people over there. So I can understand that they sometimes prefer cash if you take into consideration all the things that they've been through during the last 30 years, even if Bitcoin is objectively maybe the better choice.
Yeah. Hey, and talking about that other question, because you, we thought that you would say yes at the streaming live at the States in Tivoli in December.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's not so. Why is it more difficult, you think?
Yeah. So for the people that don't know, so the podcast that I host is Satoshi Radio. We are doing our first live show in Tivoli, which is a big pop music venue basically in Utrecht in the Netherlands, and we have our own venue where approximately 250 people will attend. So it's less people than in Bitcoin Amsterdam. I think the main reason is that we have to fill the whole evening. So it's around 90 minutes or something, while opening in Bitcoin Amsterdam was 10 minutes, which is easier. It's easier to make a fun story for 10 minutes and entertain some people. Now we really have to entertain them for 90 minutes live. So yeah, I mean that's the Louis van Gaal or famous football trainer would say that's a different cook or a different cookie.
Different cookie.
No, that's a Dutch saying. So, but that is going to be really fun. But it's not going to be easy after having the experience in Bitcoin Amsterdam. It will help though. It was really nice to stand on such a big podium for the first time.
Yeah, I can imagine.
If you run out of things, then you can always ask Bert to do a big market update. And he will fill probably up the complete 90 minutes, right?
Yeah, people will love it. Yeah, Bert is one of my co-hosts. He's like the macroeconomics guy in our podcast. And also we have Peter. So we were the three of us, so we will make it work. But it's not. The question was, is it going to be easy after standing on the podium in Amsterdam? And I don't think it's going to be easy. We still have to put in a lot of work. Yeah.
Hey, and we are here to celebrate the first anniversary of Connect the World.
Yeah.
And I'm always a bit joking about you being our podfather. We always have. we also had Adam Curry, the real podfather, obviously, as a guest in our show. But you are kind of our podfather because we both, Edward and I, we are still from the Satoshi Radio Rings of Satoshi Radio community, but also the Satoshi Radio Rings of Fire community. And the name Satoshi Radio Rings of Fire, for all the people from outside of Holland, came from your community and your podcast. But
our community in a sense.
Community in a sense. That's correct. But looking back at the year we had, our very first year, what are some of the things you're most proud of? Because we know you told us plenty of times you're very proud of our team and the things we do. But what are the peaks for you?
For Connect the World, you mean? Yeah. So the peak for me is that just the discipline that you guys showed, or discipline or consistency. That's maybe a better word. So showing up every week and putting in your best effort and having fun and enjoying the guest. I mean, it's hard work, especially if you have a guest every week. Because if you're just with the same group every week, then I mean, you can just put in a smile when the cameras go on and then go and then leave after the cameras go off, right? I mean, and that's fine. But when you have a guest, you have to be a great host also before the show and also after the show, and especially seeing or looking at how the guests after they came onto your show, how they kept the connection and kept coming back and sending tweets and sending comments on YouTube and still following the show. That just really proves that you guys made a really good connection with all the hosts, right? Or with all the guests that you had, and I think I'm really proud of that. The network that you basically build up from nothing in a year, and especially seeing that come into real life with the Bitcoin Amsterdam meetups that were there that really showed that all those people, all those guests that came on the show really loved being around the Connect the World crew and the Connect the World community. And I think that is the biggest compliment that you can get, and I'm really, really proud of that, seeing that grow during the year.
And was Bitcoin Amsterdam then also your highlight of this year? Looking back, we are still having some months to go, obviously, but is this the real highlight? I'm not talking about Connect the World wise, but in general?
But I think both. I think in general, yes. Maybe that Tivoli can also be great, but I think, this was a highlight, but also for Connect the World, because it really... it was like the icing on the cake, right? I mean, I think I'm more proud of the consistency and the way you guys present yourself to the outside world and to the guests that we have, because that is putting in the work every week. But sometimes the icing on the cake just brings it all together, and that was what happened during Bitcoin Amsterdam, especially during the meetups where just everybody was there, and that was just having fun and showing off Lightning and educating or learning or a bit of both, educating each other, learning from each other. So I mean that was, I think, the proudest moment.
The feeling at those meetups was really crazy. It was amazing.
I agree.
And that really gives the energy to keep going, because it's a lot of work, but you want to feel what you're doing it for. And this is even bigger than one guest. It's every guest, and being a host for all those people. The hospitality of the Dutch, it was amazing. Hey, and what is your highlight Bitcoin news or something on Bitcoin? That was the biggest thing for you. In
the middle of the bear market, so it has to be
something technical. The bear market is a difficult question, but
but this year, Paul, that's a difficult one. That's a really difficult one. The biggest thing this year, I think I will probably circle back to Lightning still. But also even there, it's at some point, but that's also quite recent again. So I think again, Bitcoin Amsterdam in a sense that so if you like, I was already paying with Lightning in El Salvador, for instance, and not that, also already using Zeus, already using Umbrel, already using Raspberry Blitz, already using BTC Pay server, right? So nothing, there aren't that many things that changed, right? The year before, that's when everything changed. Right? I mean, Umbrel was suddenly there, Raspberry Blitz, BTC Pay server, integrated Lightning, US, all those great wallets having new user interfaces and user experience and whatever. But there were some things. I think one thing is that Exchange is starting to implement Lightning. I think that is really cool. Also, I think the Cash app in the US has it integrated. I think Jack Dorsey and what he is doing for Bitcoin is one of the things that I really like. That is quite an influential guy who seems to get it in a sense. So he is putting
He's
up
a real Bitcoiner,
but also words are easy. There are more people that are real Bitcoiner by words, but he is putting in grants for Bitcoin developers and those kind of things. I really like that. But I think all those Lightning companies that got funding, for instance, I think that is really significant.
That's true. We saw that a lot.
And I think the NFC cards is great. So you guys really are on the forefront of that. And also, so NFC cards. So I think those, so that the Lightning Beer Tap at Bitcoin Amsterdam, for instance, like you can build things like that. So I think also LN Bits, of course, like an LN URL, all those things that make it easier to have an account-based wallet system on nodes. So I think, and Taro, of course, so maybe the introduction of stablecoins on Lightning. So at the last 3 months, there were some things again that it was like, we're innovating again, we're moving again, and I think that is my highlight for Bitcoin this year.
Yeah, the innovation in Lightning is more visible, of course. And we started off with, I think, liquidity. I see it here, 3,280 Bitcoin, and now, as of today, more than 5,000 Bitcoin inside the Lightning network. Is that meaningful, or do you think that's not really an important figure?
Yeah, it is meaningful, but there was a good discussion about this a while back. That it's of course unclear how much of the Lightning network liquidity is funded in private channels, for instance.
Yeah.
And we just don't know. Maybe it's 5 times as much. Maybe it's almost nothing. I mean, people are saying things about it, but it's really difficult to grasp. Maybe people who actually have big private channels, like Strike, for instance, or something like that. And on the other hand, what I also saw is, I mean, I think I did some rough calculations, and I think 40% or something of that liquidity is stuck in 20 of the biggest nodes or something. So it is something to think about. I'm on the fence if I think it's positive or negative or whatever. I have to think more about it. It's just there were some. We were always thinking about the centralization of the Lightning network like 3 years back or something, and now you kind of see it happening with a couple of really, really big players, and also, of course, Voltage with Lightning nodes as a service, which I really think is great, like as a service, because it's really helpful. But on the other hand, Amazon Web Services and other cloud providers are also really helpful, and that's why we're now stuck with 3 big players in that market. Lot of things to think about. But I think, in essence, it's more liquidity is better, I think. But I think it's, like I said, it's a more complex topic than only the nice graphs that you see going up to 5,000, maybe 6,000 or 7,000 at some point.
Yeah. But first, let me, and I think I also talk for Edward and the guys at the background, thank you for giving us the opportunity to start Connect the World, because you're the one who facilitated it. So if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be here now 1 year later. So thank you for that. And
it was amazing,
pleasure,
right?
Guys.
And you know the structure of our show, because you watch every single episode, of course. So you know that we have a part that's called 21 minutes, and we also prepared some questions for you. But it has to be in the 21 minutes. So if you are ready, Bart and Edward, we would really love to enter that part.
Yeah,
and then fire all those questions to you. Okay, let's go.
Connect the World.
Well, we prepared some questions. They're all about Lightning, of course. And it is also the questions that everybody needs and wants to know about Lightning. So let's start with the first one. What exactly is the Lightning Network? That's an easy one.
That's an easy one, but also not. So the Lightning Network is a second layer on Bitcoin, but that's also the thing that I said on stage at Bitcoin Amsterdam. I think most people have heard of that explanation, that it is a second layer on the Bitcoin network, and you can make it as technical as you want to. But I think the most important thing is to tell people what it can offer. And the best way to do that is how you guys do it, by handing them NFC cards or wallets or whatever, sending them some sets and saying, hey, buy a beer, because then they can experience the things that I'm about to explain. But I would say it enables fast payments, low cost, and it has a low barrier to entry. Those will be my 3 points, the key points that Lightning adds to Bitcoin.
And if you need to explain in a few sentences why the Bitcoin Lightning Network is needed in the world where we're living in, what would you say? What's your vision on that? What's your take on that?
So the 3 things that I just mentioned enable... I see it like a Lego block. Like the whole internet is kind of a Lego block, and software are Lego blocks. So you, especially today, there are frameworks for everything. And if you want to build a website, you can take a programming language, and there is a database connected to that, and there's a kind of a server architecture connected to that. And those are all modules. You don't have they're called libraries, basically. So you don't have to build everything up yourself. Like some things just work. You just pick a library and it works. At least that is what programmers say. I'm not a programmer, but until this point, I get it. And I think like payment modules, payment libraries, they exist, but they're all connected to Stripe. They're connected to PayPal. They're connected to credit cards. They're connected to banks and whatever. And I just really love that there is now a library or a module, and that is Lightning, that you can just pick as a Lego block, and you can just put it to your application that you just built, and without any hassle, you have a payment module installed. And I think that is really powerful. So when you have an idea, you don't have to, go to the whole KYC. And I'm not particularly against KYC or whatever, but it's just cumbersome. It just takes time. And then Stripe will say, no, you can be a customer, or the fees are too high or whatever. And Lightning just breaks that barrier completely to the ground. And you can just say, okay, I want to make something, and I want people to pay a fraction of a cent, and all of a sudden that's possible. So I would say why it is needed, because it's the first low barrier payment model, open source payment model that you can use in your applications.
And because you can buy a beer with it, right?
Yeah, but that is exactly my point. So with that Bitcoin beer tap, you can also make that with your credit card, but the fees would probably be too high. So people have to order, 5 beers instead of 1 to make it feasible. In the Netherlands, we have debit cards, and the fees are a little bit lower, but still, I think it's a couple of cents or 25 cents or something. Something per transaction. It just creates all kinds of barriers. You need a PIN, point of sale terminal, which is more expensive than your beer tap as a whole. So, I mean, if I would have that,
you need to get the payment provider incentivized to open up their code or something to implement it.
And it needs to have internet, because with LNURL POS point of sale offline, that's just not possible.
Also true. No, but and probably, I mean, there are also architectures where with a debit card you can open source and make your point of sale terminal offline. But that's to the point of Stef. Then the point of sale terminal manufacturer has to do it. I mean, I already get headaches about even thinking about this, and I'm not really incentivized. Like all my joy is gone, and I don't want to pursue this idea anymore. And with Lightning, that barrier isn't there. So we can just move on. We can say, okay, let's focus on this idea, and we put a payment module on top at the end, and whatever, it will just work. And I think that is really, really great, because it really brings ideas to the forefront that normally would have died 2 seconds after thinking of them.
And they're making it easier because interoperability is getting better. And like you said, with the libraries, you have now the Lightning Development Kit. Well, that's made for developers to build upon. So
it's getting better and better.
Yeah. And what's the next step after downloading, right after downloading a Lightning wallet and topping it up with Bitcoin? Or perhaps buy a beer, of course. But
no, not perhaps. I think that is the thing that you should do. I mean, no, but like I think paying with Lightning is just... for most people, the most thrilling thing you can do. Yeah. Because just by far the most fun. And I think, building a routing node or something is just not for everyone. I tried it just for fun, but I'm like, I mean, I have other things to do. And sometimes it's almost like a full-time job, and it can crash and you can lose your sets and whatever. I like running my Lightning node, and it's fun to check on the channels a little bit and to have some channel, try to make it as efficient as I can. But I mean, once you download a Lightning wallet and topped it up with Bitcoin, I mean, of course, go out and spend it. I mean, that is... experience it. I mean, that is the most important thing for me. That will be the next step.
Talking about running a Lightning node, well, you helped a lot of people from the Satoshi Radio community building their own. I don't know if you know the numbers. We guess it was
I think around 600
people building up the Lightning node. This was also where the Satoshi Radio Rings of Fire community was built from. But if people want to start running a Lightning node, where can they start? What tips do you have? What hardware can you recommend?
I really like Raspberry Pis because if you don't like running your Lightning node, you can erase it and try out one of the thousands of other fun Raspberry Pi projects that you can try. I mean, home automation or whatever. It's just a really cool piece of software. It's pretty powerful for its size. So I would say Raspberry Pi. I think you can check the Umbrel website. They have quite an up-to-date list, or grocery shopping list, basically, with things that you need. But the problem is that Raspberry Pis are difficult to get by at this point. So you can also, but then it becomes a little bit more difficult. But I mean, for instance, Umbrel also just works on a Linux machine. So you can use an old laptop, run Linux on it, and then try Umbrel. So that would be my second. But if you can get your hands on a Raspberry Pi, I think that is by far the easiest way at this point.
Okay. So, and you then have the hardware, and how do you install the software on your device?
I tried a couple. So the node that I run at this point has BTC Pay Server, because we use BTC Pay Server for our donation system on Telegram that we've built. And I've come to love it because it's just so stable. I don't know why, but it just works. I've been running it from the beginning. I think that is around more than 2 years back, and it's still running on a normal hard drive because I never had the
really.
So never there was never an opportunity is the wrong word, but never a reason kind of to change it because it just keeps working. I'm like, I mean, if it works, it works. Like whatever.
Of course,
So that's pretty cool. My tutorials are mainly about Umbrel because at that point it was just the easiest way to get a cool Lightning node running. I still think it is, but I still think Umbrel is really cool. But come to support them more about for the reason that they try to change your whole server stack or something, right? So they are like trying to give back all the power to the user. So it's not only Bitcoin, it's also your photos and your data and your VPN and whatever. You can run everything yourself.
Which
so
could be a bit of a security risk.
No, that was the point I was getting to. So I'm not running my any Lightning node on or any node for that instance on Umbrel anymore. I just use all the other functions. I was asking that to them for months, like, please let me give me the option to turn off my Lightning node on Umbrel because I want to run all the other stuff, don't want to run a node. So I kind of switched to Raspberry Blitz, especially when they introduced their web UI a couple of months back, because I really like web UIs. It doesn't have to be fancy, which it isn't, but I just like clicking and typing instead of using top and enter on my keyboard in some old outdated SSH interface. So I would say if you don't have your own web shop or whatever, go for Raspberry Blitz.
And do you think it's really needed to run a node to get the real experience of the Lightning Network? I mean, when you use just a wallet, you don't really get to know the infrastructure behind it. So running a node maybe helps. And are there other possibilities to get more introduced into Lightning in the infrastructure?
Do you really need a node to experience the Lightning Network? I don't think so. Because experiencing the Lightning Network is more about, I think, really experiencing it is more like an emotion almost, or a feeling. And like channel management is fun, but it's more like an administrative task or something. I mean, it just feels like work in a sense. I mean, and fun work. I mean, I like doing that. But yeah, I mean, you could also be optimizing a supply chain or something and have the same experience or something, right? And I think spending sats is experiencing the Lightning Network, and you can also do that with a wallet. But I think also experiencing the Lightning Wallet is the ease with which you can turn your ideas into reality, especially with payments and stuff. So I think and for that you probably need something like a node, right? So then also you can use Neutrino or whatever. So I'm on the fence on this one, but I think you can get away with only using a wallet and just spending as much Lightning sats as you can at Lightning merchants.
Yeah, and a lot of apps also have a wide range of possibilities, like a point of sale solution of Breeze or podcasting 2.0.
Exactly.
So it's fun even with only the wallet.
That's a really good point. I mean, you can use. I think you had the guys from LB in your podcast. You can use their browser extension. You can use all kinds of paywalls. You can use all kind of Ben Ark's inventions and whatever, and you don't. For all of those things, you don't really need a node. I mean, if you really, maybe you can also get away with a voltage node, for instance. So, So you don't really need your own node. But that is not to say that you shouldn't do it. I mean, I would highly recommend it because you just learn so much about Bitcoin on-chain for starters, and about the Lightning Network. So, and it's just a lot of fun, and it's really cool. And I think every Bitcoiner should run his own on-chain node at least. So, go out and get one for sure.
Hey, and if you want to open a channel, what node do you connect to, or how do you search the node that you want to open a channel to?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm kind of spoiled as a podcast host in the Netherlands because we get donations. My channels kind of balance themselves in a sense because we have it's kind of like a river that. I mean, sometimes it's more than other times, but there is always a bit of flow to my side, right? So my channels, if I wait long enough, they tend to. The point of gravity will come to my side, and I think a lot of node runners don't have that privilege almost. So there are other things they need to do. And then to connect to good nodes, that's also kind of like I said, I'm a bit spoiled that I just know a lot of people from the Dutch community who run a great node. So for instance, I would say for Dutch listeners, I like Bitkassa because there's just a lot of things happening on their node. So they tend to have a lot of good connections to other nodes. They tend to, those channels tend to, stay active. Basically, there is movement in those channels, and it's basically their job to keep the channels running. So for a lot of people, I would say find like a big local node in a sense. I also try to connect to bigger, like the biggest ones in the network. I don't necessarily have a good experience doing that. I mean, also not a bad experience, but most of the times it just wouldn't route anything, even not my own payments. So that, I think that is the biggest thing. Just try out a lot of things out, monitor it once a month, and you can just see it. For instance, in Write the Lightning and RTL, like the node management software, Lightning node management software, you can see how much sats are sent over a channel in its lifetime. Yeah, I have some that routed, I don't know, my own transactions like 30 or 40 million sats or something. And sometimes these are like 2 million sat channels. Yeah, then I know, okay, this node, maybe I should open a bigger one or at least keep this channel alive. So also monitor what works and write down what doesn't work.
And you also talked a bit about the donation function you integrated into the Satoshi Radio community. I think it's somewhere in between value for value and donating to the favorite project. Can you tell us more about it? And what I'm especially curious about is what is the biggest transaction you received? I mean, and the smallest, because that's I think very fun.
Smallest I know on top of my head, because that is quite easy. We have a cap on that because we don't want to get spammed, because our so maybe I should explain the process a little bit for the people that don't know our podcast. So we have a quite lively Telegram group. I think there are 2,500 people there. And what we did is that we made a Telegram bot. You can say hi to the Telegram bot, and then you can say donate, and then you can say the amount of sats that you want to donate, and you can write a message. Then the donation bot, the Telegram bot, talks to, or the application that is behind it that we wrote talks to BTC Pay. It makes an invoice, grabs that invoice QR, or now I think it grabs a link to the invoice, sends that back to the user pays, and then what happens that we get the sats, and that the message of the user is displayed in our Telegram chat, which is of course really fun. Because that, and we also, of course, mention them in the podcast. So if somebody has a question, they can make a donation, and then we will answer the question in the podcast. So that gives a really nice dynamic. And what happened is that when people have a new node, like it's kind of common courtesy in a sense, or it became common to send us a small donation, and then people tell us that they made their own node or set up their own node, and then we, as host, would give them an applause. Mm-hmm. And that really kind of, I don't know, it became something.
A hype, a real hype.
It really worked. That feedback loop really worked, because people thought, man, I also want an applause. And then they set up, that was like sometimes the last push to get them to set up a node.
It was my last push, to be honest.
I did the same.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
I wanted to have the node ready.
So no, that is that is how it works. I think the smallest one, I don't know. The smallest amount is 5,000 sats or something, so it's $1. But I mean, it can go as small as you want. I think the biggest one is I'm also trying to check if I
was it a 2 million from Mark van der Scheijs?
Yeah, I think it was 1 million.
Oh, 1 million.
On top of my head. I have more than we have thousands of donations at this point. And this system has been working for 2 years or something. So it's the reason why we have this, and we also have value for value, by the way, and podcasting 2.0. But
of course,
that wasn't there at this point.
No, indeed.
It was. I have to give credits to Jorijn, which is our in-house developer. He's a community member who helps us with these projects. Yeah, he wrote software and it still works. I mean, it almost never breaks down. It did break down last week, because Telegram usernames or Telegram user IDs got one extra number basically, and that broke our software, but it's fixed now. But yeah, so it just shows that if you have an ID, you can build it. I mean, you need a programmer. I mean, I couldn't have done this myself, but every community has a programmer. And so I think the biggest one is 1 million sets, and the smallest one is.
And to add to this, by the way, just thinking of it now, we also use the exact same service or software at our own community. So if you want to try it out,
two: the Satoshi Radio Rings of Fire group and in the Connected World group.
So you can make a donation, put in a nice text, and you will see it automatically being posted in our Telegram group. So
great. Hey, now we have a vision question. If you look back to the last 4 years of Lightning development and then have a look 4 years in the future, I mean, that's very long because generations have passed with Lightning. But what do you think we are, or where do you think we are with Lightning by then?
I hope a little bit further than that we are now. But I think I have more merchant adoption to start with. So I mean, it's all fun that we have great wallets and stuff, but and it's a chicken and egg problem. So we need great wallets and stuff. That is really, really important. And I think that's the side of adoption that we as programmers or podcast hosts or Lightning enthusiasts can push. But we also need to get out and really talk to entrepreneurs and merchants and say, hey, you really need this. And you guys really came through with those meetups during Bitcoin Amsterdam, because those two merchants will keep accepting Lightning. I think they
can't convert it to fiat, by the way. So
but that is another point. I want better regulation because they can't convert it to fiat because we have bad regulation, basically. So I want risk-based regulation. I want stablecoin support. I would like it to see integrated in Apple Pay. I want more online adoption. So it's just, those would be my 5 or 6 points even.
That's a lot of points, but 4 years, come on, that's so long.
I hear the TikTok, so I hope I can ask one
I mean,
more.
you're really torching your guests with a TikTok.
But in one of the first episodes of Satoshi Radio podcast, which you started in 2018, you already took a deep dive into the Lightning Network. But what was the moment, the point of was that the moment of point of no return in thinking? Or came this later?
No, that wasn't. And that's really funny. It was Tom Stammis from Bitonic, also, of course, the sponsor of the show, BL3P. He was already really into the Lightning Network, at least from a theoretical perspective. He really knew what he was talking about. And we had him in the podcast, and I mean, it was a cool story, but it didn't tick at that point for me. I think the moment it did was the Lightning Torch. Or at least that's the first time after Tom that I can remember something. I was like, oh yeah, that's and I knew that I tried things with invoices at that point. I was like, I don't understand how this works, and that stupid big Ellen blah 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 invoice string, right? We didn't really have QRs, or I didn't use them, and I wanted that Lightning Torch. I didn't got it, but at that point I was like, okay, maybe we should do something. And I also was not running my own Bitcoin node at that point, and then I think. At some point, Umbrel came onto the picture, and then it kind of clicked, right? Then there were like 3 forces at the same time. They were like, okay, there is something happening with Lightning. I want my own node. Now there is something that looks really cool. Yeah, I should do it. So that was the point for me, cool. where I really got into Lightning.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, we always have much more questions, and this was great. I think we definitely should do this another time again.
Yeah, anytime.
if we are 2 years old, then I hope before that.
Sure, we can make it a tradition.
No problem. Let's make it a tradition. That's a good point.
That would be great.
Thanks, Bart.
Conectato Lumea.
Yeah, so normally we have a question from a previous guest, but because this is a very special in between the normal episode, we asked our soulmate, Jonī Kyasshu, to ask a question for you. So Edward
and we don't know the question.
We don't know it either.
We always know the question.
It's also a surprise for us, Bart. So I hope he can be a bit tricky, or I don't know. Sometimes he's not very easygoing. So I hope Jonī Kyasshu.
He likes fire also.
He's a real
be careful.
Pyroman. Yeah, but Edward will play the audio file, and then you may answer it, Bart.
Let's do it again. Okay. Stef, you know what he's saying, right?
No, I can't make anything. Please explain, Edward. I don't understand.
I understand either. Wait a minute. How long are you? And then? Are you running? He's typing, Jonī. How long are you running a lightning node? Okay.
How long are you running a lightning
node? Lightning node. I can understand the last part, but
how long are you running a lightning node?
Yeah.
I think we should check the NodeSuck videos.
Oh yeah, from what time was that?
Okay, I have to check real. Because it would be a bit stupid if I say I've been running it for years now, and years, and then people check the videos, and I think the first one is it's around here 2 years ago, and the exact date is impossible to find. It seems. I think I will get to 1 February 2010 and 1 February 2020. So 2.5 years. Is that correct then?
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah, 2.5 years then, yeah.
And I was just laughing because I know that the guys behind the scenes, Ramon and Laptopman, they organize this question.
They're on the floor.
I know
laughing,
they're rolling
really.
on the floor laughing for real. So that's why I'm also laughing.
And they're typing in my script, and I because I thought, well, they didn't say what the question was. So.
They said we will also recognize the question, but okay.
Yeah,
but it's good to know.
All those hours in the Telegram group didn't improve their sense of humor.
No,
I think.
Well, I'm very curious how they recorded it, because that's
text to speech, I think,
hear
or
the
something.
story.
Maybe some AI stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, I think
so.
That's possible. And we want to also ask you to come up with a question, and this time for the community.
Yeah.
And we also have a prize to give away, so we can combine it. So it's like so we have a Connect the World, how can we call it? Mystery box.
Yeah.
And I think you all will know that this one of these t-shirts is in it, but
perhaps
also
this is in it.
Also a lot of other stuff, and we are planning to give it away. So, Bart, you may ask the listeners, the viewers, the audience a question, and if they have the right answer, and they have to put it in let's say the comments on YouTube. The correct answer, and then we will pick one who wins the special box the mystery box from Connect the World.
And I can tell you that the t-shirt is really fantastic quality. Now I'm not even joking. I like everything is embroidered on it and stuff.
I have one here. It's good made, and it's the material is great. And Ben Ark
I was being serious,
one.
and now you sound like some merchant or something, like trying to sell fake.
Very, very good quality.
Fake football shirts or something on the Spanish Boulevard. Anyway, I can ask the question. So the question is. So leave your answer in the comments. So what was the exact date that I arrived in El Salvador? So when did I arrive in El Salvador? Give the exact date in the comments.
We know it was in September, but we don't know the exact date.
Exactly.
Or I know the exact date, but I won't tell.
You already have a shirt. So.
Yes.
Connetti il mondo.
Okay, yeah, but
thanks, Bart.
We had a blast,
great.
man. It was really great to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
And a bit strange because normally I always listen to you when you record the other podcast, obviously, and now we are in the same. So it's like two worlds coming together and really combine forces. So, but I really enjoyed it.
Me too. Thank you.
And
me too.
Yeah, and obviously, I think everyone from Holland, from within our community, knows where to find you. But from the people outside of our nice country, our listeners and viewers, which we all also have from around the globe, where can people find you?
I think on Twitter is the best. Is your best bet. It's Bart_Mol, MOL. I just decided that I will start tweeting in Dutch again, though. So,
okay, but you have a nice newsletter that you write on your
also
own
in Dutch,
page, right?
Yeah, Bitcoin Alpha.
Yeah, no. I mean,
maybe I will start writing it in Dutch as well. I just change my mind all the time. I don't know. Maybe I will keep doing it in English. You can follow me on.
Okay, and otherwise Dutch. Google Translate or
English.
Well, thanks to everyone for listening. Thanks for all the members participating in the Satoshi Radio Rings of Fire. And of course, thanks to everyone helping to connect the world with us. If you like our content, then please support us in our mission. Visit our website, connecttheworld.live, where you can also donate. And subscribe, like, and share our content on your favorite platform. We need you to complete our mission, connect the world. So keep those nodes running, sats flowing, and rings burning. And see you all next week on the same Lightning channel. Buenas noches, Bart.
Adios, Bart.
Buenas noches, guys.